नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरये। नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवती उत्तम श्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्ठिकी। So we are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, entitled Creation, Chapter 11. Lord Krishna's entrance into Dwaraka, text number 2. सौच्चकासे धवलो दरो दरो पीयुरुक्रमस्य धरसोण सोणिमा दध्मायमान करकंज संपुते यथाब्ज खंडे कलहंस उत्स्वनः सौच्चकासे धवलो दरो दरो पीयुरुक्रमस्य धरसोण सोणिमा दध्मायमान करकंज संपुते यथाब्ज खंडे कलहंस उत्स्वनः सौच्चकासे धवलो दरो दरो पीयुरुक्रमस्य धरसोण सोणिमा दध्मायमान करकंज संपुते यथाब्ज खंडे कलहंस उत्स्वनः यथाब्ज खंडे कलहंस उत्स्वनः सौच्चकासे धवलो दरो दरो पीयुरुक्रमस्य धरसोण सोणिमा दाध्मायमान करकंज संपुते यथाब्ज खंडे कलहंस उत्स्वनः सौच्चकासे धवलो दरो दरो पीयुरुक्रमस्य धरसोण सोणिमा दाध्मायमान करकंज संपुते यथाब्ज खंडे कलहंस उत्स्वनः सौच्चकासे धवलो दरो दरो पीयुरुक्रमस्य धरसोण सोणिमा दाध्मायमान करकंज संपुते यथाब्ज खंडे कलहंस उत्स्वनः Saha, that Uchchakase became brilliant. Dhavala udaraha, white and fat bald. Daraha, conch shell. Api, although it is so. Urukramasya, of the great adventurer. Adhara sona, by the transcendental quality of his lips. Sonima, reddened. Dadmayamanaha, being sounded. Karakanja sampute, being caught by the grip of the lotus hand. Yatha, as it is. Abjakhande, by the stems of lotus flowers. Kalahamsaha, ducking swan. Utsvanaha, loudly sounding. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Translation. The white and fat bald conch shell, being gripped by the hand of Lord Krishna and sounded by him, appeared to be reddened by the touch of his transcendental lips. It seemed that a white swan was playing in the stems of red lotus flowers. Translation with repetition. The white and fat bowled conch shell, being gripped by the hand of Lord Krishna and sounded by him, appeared to be reddened by the touch of his transcendental lips. It seemed that a white swan was playing in the stems of red lotus flowers. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. The redness of the white conch shell, due to the lip touch of the Lord, is a symbol of spiritual significance. The Lord is all spirit, and matter is ignorance of this spiritual existence. Factually, there is nothing like matter and spiritual enlightenment. And this spiritual enlightenment takes place at once by the contact of the Supreme Lord Sri Krishna. The Lord is present in every particle of all existence, and He can manifest His presence in anyone by ardent love and devotional service to the Lord, or in other words, by spiritual contact with the Lord. Everything becomes spiritually reddened, like the conch shell in the grip of the Lord. And the Paramahamsa, or the supremely intelligent person, plays the part of the ducking swan in the water of the spiritual bliss, eternally decorated by the lotus flower of the Lord's feet. Thus ends the wonderful transcendental Bhaktivedanta purport. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminati Namine. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama. Hare Krishna. So this is the second verse of the chapter that we began last week. And it's a very powerful verse, very poetic, very nicely Prabhupada gives some meanings of this verse, and we will try to understand. Sauchakase dhavalo daro daro pi urukramasya dhara sona sonima dadmayamana karakanja sampute yathabja khande kalahamsa utsvanaha. Sauchakase dhavalo daro daro. Dhavala is white, Sveta. Dhavalo daro daro. Dhavalo daro. Udara, we say Brukodara Bhima. Udara is fat boweled, Prabhupada's translation. Dhavalo daro daro. Sa uchchakase dhavalo daro daro. A white fat boweled conch, which is also known as Panchajanya, is being blown by the Lord. Uchchakase, very loudly. So the word that is used for Krishna here is Urukramasya. Urukramasya means who does superhuman activities. Another name of Lord Vamanadev is Urukrama, who could cross in those 3 steps, all these 3 planetary systems. Urukramasya adhara shono sonima. The lips of the Lord, they're red in color. Adhara sona sonima. Even though the conch is white in color, as soon as it came in touch with the lips of the Lord, the conch became reddened. Sauchakase dhavalo daro daro, pi urukramasya dhara sona sonima, dadmaya manaha karakanja sampute, yathabja khande kalaham sa utsvana. A very nice analogy which is given here. Dadmaya manaha karakanja sampute. Kara is hands, kanja is lotus. So the Lord's hands are also compared with lotus, the lotus hand. Kara kanja sampute. Like a white conch is, not only the lips are reddened, the hands are also, if you look at Krishna's hands here, it is reddish in color, right? Kara kanja sampute. It is lotus-like hand. Karakanja sampute, yathabja khande kalahamsa utsvana. Like a swan, which is white in color, is getting herself or himself absorbed in the midst of lotuses. Like that, this conch sampute was held by Karakanja, by the lotus hand of the Lord. That's the verse that we have. The white and fat bowled conch, being gripped by the hand of the Lord Krishna and sounded by him, appeared to be reddened. Urukramasya dharasona sonima, to be reddened by the touch of his transcendental lips. It seemed that a white swan was playing in the stems of red lotus flowers. Yathabja khande kalahamsa utsvana. Abja khande kalahamsa utsvana. Very poetic, very beautiful words. And the important point which Prabhupada mentions in the purport, very simple actually. The point that Prabhupada is mentioning, that this redness of the white conch is of a spiritual significance. It's not just some allegory or something. What is that redness of the conch, white conch? What is it? What does it signify spiritually? The significance is that the spiritual enlightenment takes place at once by the contact of the Supreme Lord Sri Krishna. The touch of the Lord. There is nothing like matter in spiritual enlightenment, and the spiritual enlightenment takes place at once by the contact of the Supreme Lord Sri Krishna. Further, Prabhupada says, what does it mean to have spiritual contact? By ardent love and devotional service to the Lord, or in other words, by spiritual contact. So if you want to know what is the meaning of the word spiritual contact, ardent love and devotional service to the Lord. Or in other words, by spiritual contact with the Lord, everything becomes spiritually reddened, like the conch in the grip of the Lord. And the Paramahamsa, or the supremely intelligent person, plays the part of the ducking swan in the water of spiritual bliss, eternally decorated by the lotus flower of the Lord's feet. So, the life that we live, as it is mentioned in this verse, like a white conch where there is no rasa, there is no mellows, our life is also like that, without Krishna's touch. If Krishna is not there in our lives, whatever life we live, materially opulent, success, fame, so-called sense gratification business, all are no rasa, niras. It's white. But the Krishna's touch, when it comes in our life, life becomes reddened. We experience transcendental mellows. It's such a wonderful opportunity. What else is there in life? This body which is made up of filthy substance inside, gross matter, just the covering of the skin makes it look little attractive. And the deep ignorance of identification with the body and the bodily needs makes us really mad. There's nothing that we get out of it. Krishna touch. If you see this word sparsha, it comes in many places in Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam also. In Bhagavad Gita, this verse comes in the 5th chapter where Krishna says, Yehi samsparshadya bhoga, dukkha yenoya evate, te adi antavanta kaunteya, nate shuramate buddha. Yehi samsparsha, sparsha. All of us, when we speak about the journey of life, we say it is a journey from birth to death. Also, it is a journey from Indriya Sparsha to Krishna Sparsha. Nobody trains us that, you should go for your sense gratification business. Nobody trains us that you should satisfy the demands of your senses. We learn it. But what we don't realize, yehi samsparshaja bhoga, that so-called material enjoyment is actually the cause of miseries. Dukkha yoni. Dukkha yonaya evate. Adi antavanta kaunteya. There is a beginning and there is an end. Adi antavanta kaunteya. Nateshu ramate buddha. This word Adi antavanta, recently there was a photograph of mine somebody sent when I was a child and I was drinking one cold drinks called Gold Spot. And I don't know how many of you have seen Gold Spot. Unlike today, where you go and buy one cold drink anywhere you like, in our time it was not so easily available. So you go to some meetings or some this thing with your father or something, the meeting will be of no use. You'll be waiting for the cold drink to come. And it'll be brought in front of you. Those bottles, you don't see those kind of things. They're very thick, this thing, and there'll be a straw. So you take a sip, and then you're looking at that. You don't want it to get over. Now it is beginning. So Adi Antavanta. Now it's full. In the middle, you want to go slow. And then fully you have taken its straw. Gone, khatam. This is what is the material happiness. Yehi samsparsaja bhoga dukkha yenoya evate. Te adi antavanta kaunteya nateshu ramate buddha. Buddha, who are intelligent people, they don't indulge in these things, this kind of delight. Where do they indulge? What is their goal? Bhagavatam mentions, Matra sparshe chayamuhu. Etadhi atura chittanam. Matra sparsha, again sparsha. Matra sparshe chayamuhu. Bhava sindho plavo drashto haricharyanu varnanam. Etadhi atura chittanam. How anxious, how desperate we are here in this material world. Etadhi atura chittanam matra sparshe chayamuhu. Why this anxiety is there? Why this kind of desperation is there? Because matra, the sense objects, the senses, matra sparshe chaya, ichchaya. There is a desire that the senses should come in touch with sense objects. The result of that, bhava sindho plavo drashto. We are deeply situated in an ocean of birth and death. Deep, right in the middle. Bhava sindho plavo drashto. Haricharyanu varnanam. But there is a boat which is available, and that boat is Haricharya. This wonderful opportunity of coming and discussing about Harikatha. So powerful it is. So powerful, yet we have not developed the interest for it. It's so important. Actually, the sparsha of the Lord, how does it work? How it works in our life? This Krishna sparsha, which can purify. If you look back in your life, when there was no Krishna consciousness, life was going on. Yes, true. And it's not like we were always suffering or morose. But the genuine experience of happiness which comes, the purpose in life, the spiritual enlightenment, even if we've not gotten it 100%, it's very, very different. Very different. And how did that come? Krishna touches us in our lives in various ways when we start chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Completely conditioned, full of ignorance, full of material thoughts. But suddenly Krishna touch, Hare Krishna, right? That touch purifies us. When we hear Bhagavatam very nicely. In the third canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, Kapiladev says to his mother, what happens when we hear Harikatha and how it purifies us. Madashraya kathamrashta shrunvanti kathayanti cha tapanti bividhastapa naitan madgata chetasa. Madashraya. What it means if somebody says that I have taken shelter of Radha Damodar. What it means when somebody says that you should surrender. Madashraya. First thing that happens is when somebody is taking shelter of Krishna, Madashraya, Kathamrishta, he'll develop a relish and attraction for Krishna Katha. Naturally. It cannot be like, no, I am very advanced devotee. I'm very sincere in my devotional life and spiritual life. I'm very, very serious. But I have no taste for Krishna Katha. How is it possible? Madhashraya Kathamrishta. Oh, they relish Krishna Katha. Madhashraya Kathamrishta. Shrunvanti Kathayanti cha. So relishing Krishna Katha, how does it manifest? Shrunvanti Kathayanti. They hear and they talk. They hear and they discuss. They speak. Shrunvanti Kathayanti cha. If you do that, what will happen? Tapanti bibidhastapa. Tapanti bibidhastapa. All of us, we are getting fried by the tritapa. Adi Dhaivik, Adi Bhautik, Adhyatmik. All these three kleshas are burning us. Like sometimes we see in the kitchen, they fry those pakodas, cabbage pakoda or something, right? I say, we are getting fried. Tapanti vividhas. And they become completely, there is a complete cessation of that. But somebody can say, Arey, I've been coming to Radha Damodar temple, I've been hearing, I've been chanting, I've been doing all these things. I have not, Tapanti Vividhas Tapa has not happened to me. I have not experienced that. I'm still getting fried. Why it is not happening? Last line, Kapila Muni says, Naitan Madgata Chetasa. Naitan Madgata Chetasa. Prabhupada, actually, in the lecture that he has given us, I think 325-23, Prabhupada has given a lecture in this. Naitan. This doesn't happen. He stresses on these words, Naitan. Madgata Chetasa. Why we are not experiencing is because our Chetasa is not on Krishna. Madgata Chetasa. If Chetasa is in all over, then this hearing also becomes a formality. Chanting also becomes a formality. Krishna touch, the sparsha doesn't happen. This katha has to touch. And the touch will come if our chetasa is madgata. Otherwise we come set, mind is somewhere else, consciousness is something else. Krishna sparsha is not there. Madashraya kathamrishta shrunvanti kathayanti cha tapanti vividhastapa naitan madgata chetasa. If you see this series of verses from this, 11th chapter is a very nice, actually 10th and 11th, both are very interesting chapters, very, very nice. Simple thing, Krishna is just leaving from Hastinapur, Krishna is entering into Dwarka. But those emotions, those Puravasis and the residents of Dwarka are exhibiting are amazing, amazing. Bhagavatam is such wonderful, sometimes, a long, this thing is covered in just few verses, it's over. Some small thing, Krishna is leaving, that is being magnified in so many ways. So many facets you can see. It's the beauty of Bhagavatam, because it doesn't lie in just telling you a story. It gives a Like there is a CCTV, it gives what is going on in people's heart. What is it that they are doing? Because it's not about external show. What you are experiencing within. Very interestingly, that lalasa, that is the next verse, it is, I don't want to jump into that, but the next verse it says, actually I should have a lalasa, there should be an eagerness, there should be a strong desire. I should associate with Krishna in this life, in this material life. When I'm covered with this material body, surrounded by all material things, they cannot give me pleasure. Spirit can never be satisfied, endeavoring hard for going after material sense gratification. Impossible. Then I should have that eagerness. How do I develop the eagerness if I don't have that eagerness? Very nicely. There are some verses which I would like to speak before I talk about the Krishna Sparsha, which is so powerful. If you see even in just jumping off, when we hear the birth of Lord Krishna in the womb of Devaki, right? The moment Kamsa saw Devaki is carrying Krishna in her womb, she was effulgent, was very brilliant, so shining. And that's because Krishna has entered into the womb. Even if Kamsa is a demoniac person, could understand how Krishna has come. This cosmic sound that I have heard, eighth son is going to be, this must be Krishna. When Vasudev carried Krishna in his hand, all the shackles were removed. When Krishna was going in crossing the river Yamuna, that time the river was flooding. Why? Because it wanted to touch Krishna out of ecstasy. I want to touch lotus feet of Krishna. Right? And there is rain, the rainfall also, they want to also touch the lotus feet of Krishna. Amazing, this Krishna's touch. We will see towards the end how Krishna's touch can purify us completely, can help us, enable us to experience that transcendental bliss which we are all hankering after. But we need to have that eagerness. This is in 18th chapter when Parikshit Maharaj was going in his kingdom. He was going and he saw that there was a bull whose legs are cut and it is just standing on one leg. And there was this cow who's being repeatedly whipped by somebody who's wearing the dress of a king. That was Kali. And there is a dialogue which is happening between this Dharma, the bull, and Bhumi Devi, who's there as cow. Cow is being tortured, like brutally being beaten up. And Dharma is standing on one leg. And they are having a dialogue and conversation. And Dharma is asking, what is the reason? Why are you crying? Mother Earth, what is the pain? What are you experiencing? Is it who has done this? How did you come to this kind of a state? Who is this person who's beating you? And is it because you are crying that, Kali Yuga is coming, or people will become averse to follow the principles of religion? Is that why you are crying? Why are you crying? He's going on asking at least 20, 25 these things to Mother Earth. But the essence, what Mother Earth says, is very powerful. Very, very powerful. Yadbambate bhuri bharavatara kritva vatarasya harer dharitri antarhitasya smarati bishrishta karmani nirvana vilambitani yadbambate bhuri bharavatara. Oh, Mother Earth, the Lord descended to reduce the burden of yours. Kritavatarasya harer dharitri. And so many incarnations of the Lord, you have seen every one of them. Why are you morose? Antarhitasya smarati vishrishta. Is it because the Lord has disappeared? Antarhitasya smarati vishrishta. Karmani nirvana vilambitani. Just remembering the activities of the Lord can purify one from all the bondage of all the sinful activities that we have done. Just remembrance. Because you are remembering Him, Antarhitasya, the Lord has disappeared now. That is why are you crying? Is that the reason for your crying? For your lamentation? And then he goes on to says, Idam mama chakshvatavahi moolam. I want to know what is the root cause. I don't want to. Actually, Mother Earth, it would have very easily she would have told, this is the person who's killing me, who's beating me. He's beating me, and that is why I'm angry. I'm crying. I'm in a helpless situation. But she's not pointing. Idam mama chakshvatavadhi moolam basundhare yena bikarshitasi kalena vate balinam baliyasha surachitam kim hritamam basaubhagam. Beautiful verses. These verses are so wonderful. Idam mama chakshvatavadhi moolam basundhare yena bikarshitasi. Who has made you weak? How you have become so weak? Who's beating you? Kalena vate balinam baliyasha. Is it the influence of time? How glorious we feel when we are in our youthful this thing, right? How strong we are feeling, how confident in life. Kalena vate balinam baliyasha. Doesn't matter how powerful you are. Doesn't matter how influential you are. Doesn't matter how much of wealth you have. Kalena vate balinam baliyasha. Whoever you may be, the crushing force of time will take away everything from us. Kalena vate balinam baliyasa surachitam kim hritamamba saubhagam. Saubhagam, you are so fortunate. You are surachitam, you are decorated. Hritam amba saubhagam. Oh Mother Earth, your fortune has been taken away. Is that why you are crying? Why? What? Who did? Why? Is it because of the influence of time that your this thing, everything is taken away? That's why you are crying? Actually, in our life also, when we go through some difficulties and miseries and problems, right? Some tax has gone up. Or I've been laid off from my company. Some visa is denied. Or I've been sent back. Children are not listening to me. Husband and wife we're not doing well. We're not gelling. There is no proper understanding. Some problem, health problem, emotional problem. We find that, why am I unhappy? And we say that because of this problem, because of that problem, because of this problem, because of this, that, so many things, I'm unhappy. But the real root cause, which Mother Earth will point out, is the root cause of all our problems is we have forgotten our relationship with Krishna. We have severed that relationship. We want to live life without Krishna. What happens is, when we hear Bhagavatam, the verse that I was talking at the beginning, Naitan madgata chetasa tapanti vividhastapa. And I was telling, like, we are getting fried. This, Prabhupada mentions this in many places. Imagine there is a boiling water or there is a boiling oil, and you bring one frog and you put it in that. Immediately it will jump. But if the kadai or if the frying pan is, just being boiled, the stove has been turned on, slowly it is being boiled. Then the frog is also adjusting to the temperature. You raise it a little bit, it's still adjusting. You raise it, it's further adjusting. This is how, in material world, we are going through so many problems. We are encountering one after another, but we don't want to get out of this. We don't get that detachment from this. We are adjusting. Yeah, relational problem, that is okay, no problem. I'll deal with this. One more, and keeps getting added up. That idea of jumping out of it doesn't come, and it comes when Krishna's sparsha comes by hearing, proper hearing, if you hear it with attention, madgata chetasa. If the hearing comes, then that idea or that alertness, I should jump. Otherwise, no. Otherwise, this life is so enticing in so many ways, it keeps us engrossed. And we are facing difficulties, yet we don't complain. ठीक है, घर में कुछ पैसा नहीं है, सर से ऊपर से कुछ, some sunshine is falling or this thing. I mean, I'm not saying that gross, but whatever it is, we are ready. We are ready to fight and adjust. So that's why he's saying, the beautiful explanation by Bhumi Devi when she says what is the reason why she's not able, what is the root cause of her unhappiness. Brahmadayo bahutitam yad apanga moksha kamas tapah samarchan bhagavat prapanna sasri svabasam aravindavanam vihaya yatpada saubhagam alam bhajate nurakta. Brahmadayo bahutitam yat apanga moksha. What do people do generally? The materialistic people, material in the material world, they go to some demigods and ask for some benedictions. Please bless me. Sukh sampati gharave, kashtamite tanka. Whatever, they go and ask for these benedictions. Where do Brahma and others, where do they go? Brahmadaya bahutitam yad apanga moksha. Where do they go? Kamas tapa samarchan bhagavat prapanna. They go to Lakshmi Devi. They ask for benediction from Lakshmi Devi, Shri. Even now also you see if there is a Lakshmi Puja, Lakshmi temple, so many people go there. Kamas tapa samarchan bhagavat prapanna. But where is Lakshmi Devi going? Sa Sri Swabasam Aravindavanam Vihaya. That Lakshmi is actually roaming in the forest of Vrindavan. Sa Sri Swabasam Aravindavanam Vihaya. She is roaming around in Vrindavan. Why she is roaming around in Vrindavan? Because she wants to take shelter of Krishna. And that Krishna, Yatpada Saubhagam Alam Bhajate Anurakta. That Lord had kept her imprints on me. What Saubhaga, what great fortune I had. That Lord, whose lotus imprints are there on me, for whom Sri or Lakshmi is after, Lakshmi, whom actually this Brahma and others are going after to get their benedictions, that Lord had kept his lotus feet on me. Yatpada saubhagam alam bhajate anurakta. Right? First she is talking about her good fortune. Then what happened? Tasyaham abja kulisankushaketu kete Srimad padair bhagavata samala kritangi Trinnatyorcha upalabhya tato vibhutim Lokan samambya srajad utsamaitam tadante. They're all excellent verses. Tasyaham abja kulisan kushaketu kete. The lotus feet of the Lord has got so many imprints. Abja. Abja is a lotus. Kulisankusha, the ankusha which is used to control the elephant. Tasyaham abja kulisankusha ketu kete. Srimad pader bhagavata samala kritangi. My body was decorated by Krishna's lotus imprint. Right? Srimad pader bhagavata samala kritangi. Trin atyorcha upalabhya tato vibhutim. What opulence I had. In three lokas, there can be nobody who can be compared to the opulences that I had. Trin atyorcha upalabhya tato vibhutim. Lokan samam vyasrajad utsmaitam tadante. But that Lord has now left. She is feeling the pain not because Kali is beating her. She is feeling the pain not because the anarthas or those vices have gone up. She is not feeling because she is feeling the pain because the Lord has gone. In the purport of this, Prabhupada mentions, when we are hearing the Hastinapur Vasi's lamentation, when Krishna is leaving Hastinapur, the queens or the women in Hastinapura, they were standing on the terrace, they are not coming down, and they are controlling their emotions, the pent of emotions. So Krishna is leaving, yet they are not crying, because they know that if they cry, the tears are inauspicious for Krishna's departure, right? So when Hastinapur Vasis are seeing Krishna is leaving, they are feeling separation and they are crying. When when Krishna was not present and he was there in Hastinapur, the Dwaraka Vasis were feeling the pain and separation. But Prabhupada says, whatever it is, whether Krishna was going from Dwaraka to Hastinapur to any other place, it was all happening on Mother Earth. It was always on her body. Krishna's lotus feet was always there. Trinatyorcha upalabhya tato vibhutim. My opulences in three lokas, nobody can even match. Lokan samam vyasrajad utsmaitum tadante. Now that Lord has gone. Lokan samam vyasrajad utsmaitum tadante. That she is feeling the pain. And then she says this verse. Kaba saheta viraham purushottamasya prema baloka ruchira smitabalgu jalpai stairyam samanam aharan madhumaninanam romad savo mama yad angri bitankitaya. Kaba saheta viraham. Kaba, who can tolerate the separation? Kaba saheta viraham purushottamasya. The separation from the Lord, can we tolerate this? I mean, this is question she's a Kaba saheta biraham purushottamasya prema baloka ruchira smita balgu jalpe. In the third canto, when Uddhav was being asked by Vidura about Lord Krishna the first time, just to say how Krishna is doing, or is Krishna there, or about his well-being. For the moment when Uddhav heard that question from Vidura, he was stunned. He just couldn't speak. Because in his mind, he went through all those pastimes of the Lord and Krishna's presence in his life, and he just couldn't speak. Kaba saheta viraham purushottamasya. Kaba saheta. Who can tolerate the separation of the Lord? Purushottamasya viraham. Prema baloka ruchira smita balgu jalpai. And she's remembering, Mother Earth is remembering one pastime when Krishna was present, and Satyabhama got little angry, and Krishna was trying to pacify her, prema baloka, with a vision filled with love, prema baloka, ruchira smita balgu jalpai. And Krishna was smiling, trying to pacify Satyabhama. Balgu jalpai. There are various kinds of jalpas. One of them is called balgu jalpai. Balgu jalpai is somebody who's angry or who's having mana. Somebody is trying to pacify. Balgu jalpai. And there is another jalpa, which we all know, prajalpa. Right? Prema baloka ruchira smita balgu jalpai. Sthairyam samanam aharan madhumaninam. Krishna is very grave. Sthairyam is very steady. Sthairyam samanam aharam madhumaninam. And when I'm remembering this, oh, that Lord, out of smile, and with prema balokana, balgu jalpai, trying to pacify Satyabhama, romatsavo, my hair is standing. Romatsavo mama yad angri vitankitaya. At the same time, I'm feeling that there is a joy inside. I'm remembering that, but at the same time, I'm feeling, oof, what intense separation. Kava saheta biraham purushottamasya. Prema baloka ruchira smita balgu jalpai. Then, actually these are all series of verses when you see them and you see the importance of Krishna's spurs, Krishna's touch, Krishna's this thing. This, when this conversation is going on, suddenly actually Saunaka Rishi, just little before this conversation, Saunaka Rishi is asking, Kasya hetor nijagraha kalim digvijaya nripaha nirdeva chinha dhrik sudra kosau gam yaha padahanat kasya heto nijagraha. He is asking this Kali, who was wearing like a Digvijay Samrat, he was wearing a robe of a Samrat, and he was going around nirdeva chinha dhrik sudra. Though he is actually a Sudra, kosau gam yaha padahanat, and he was trying to sever these three legs of this bull. Why did he do this? He's asking this question, and then he's stopping there. Why he's doing this? See, if we want to develop that eagerness for Lord, if we really want to develop those eagerness which we are seeing in this, and which Krishna is, in the next verse also this will be mentioned. Two things are required. First thing is hearing Bhagavatam very attentively. Hearing and serving Bhagavatam and the Bhaktas. And the second thing is, which is more important than the first thing, is to not have any prajalpa. To not invest our time in all kinds of this nonsensical talks. When somebody gets some interest and delight in talking about prajalpa, you know what happened to that devotee, what is going on in his life, or this thing, or that thing, or what Trump did, or what, all kinds of things. When that there is an interest and delight in that, then the eagerness will not come. So that is why when Saunaka Rishi is asking this, Kasya hetor nijagrahare, what was the reason? Why this Kalim Digvijay Nripaha, he was dressed like a king, but he is actually a Sudra, Nirdeva Chinha Dhrik Sudra, Kosau Gam Yaha Padahanat. Why did he cut these three legs of the bull? But before he could finish, and before Suta Goswami could answer, he is telling, Tat Kathayata Mahabhaga, Yadi Krishna Kathashrayam. Only you say that if it is related to Krishna. Otherwise we are not interested. Tat Kathayata Mahabhaga, Yadi Krishna Kathashrayam. Actually, there is a research which has been done by the psychologists, and the media take a lot of advantage of this. Have you seen any breaking news coming in the news channel which talks about something nice? Let's say, nice thing means, so for example, just a normal this thing, president has given an address or something, and there were a lot of people who were there. Those kind of things hardly become the breaking news. Breaking news will be something which is terrible. The husband killed the wife, burnt him to ashes, and put him inside some bag and put it in the tandoori kitchen, a chick kitchen, something like that. Or something else, haddi ko tod ke usko, and everybody is looking at that, right? There is a psychological this thing, when something nice is spoken to a child, the attention of the child remains for a short time. But you say some very terrible this thing, and he's also looking at that. There is a naturally deep inside also, we have an attraction for looking something bad, wrong. There was one friend of mine who was sharing this. I was talking to him, and he's in Canada, in Toronto. And he's saying that, there is a nice driveway which is filled with scenic beauty. People come to watch those, whatever, fall colors or so on and so whatever it is, there's some scenic beauty. But he was observing, he was sharing this with me that, you'll be going in that driveway, you will not be so interested in seeing as long as you're driving those scenic beauty, but if for some reason there is an accident in that road, and the car is crushed and something is going on terrible, everybody will go slowly and they'll be looking, right? We have this thing for that negative thing. Tat kathayata mahabhaga yadi Krishna kathashram. Only if it is related to Krishna, then you speak. Otherwise, we are not interested. Sonogrishi is clarifying. Why? He's telling, Athavasya padam bhojo makaranda liham satam kim anye rasad alapair ayusho yad asadvyayah. Athavasya padam bhojo. Are, we are drinking makaranda liham satam. The honey which is dripping from the lotus feet of the Lord, we are able to relish that. We are able to drink that because you are sharing this. Kim anye rasad alapair. Why should we indulge in this asad alapair, which is actually negative? It's all, you're feeding garbage inside your this thing. And ayusho yad asadvyayah. Our ayush, the lifespan also gets reduced by this. We are not interested in that. Athavasya padam bhojo makaranda lilam satam kim anye rasad alapair ayusho yad asadvyayah. What happens if you hear Krishna Katha? That he mentions in the next verse. Very nice verse. Kshudrayusham nridam anga, kshudrayusham nridam yanga, martyanam ratam ichchatam, iho pahuta bhagavan mrityu samitra karmani. Kshudrayusham nridam anga. O anga, O Sutta Goswami, our lifespans are kshudra, very small. Kshudrayusham nridam. Martyanam ratam ichchatam. 100% we are going to die. 100%. There's no this thing in that, no exception. Martyanam ratam ichchatam. We want to live, but we are going to die 100%. But there is a very interesting thing which happens when somebody is hearing Harikatha. What is happening there? Iha pahuto bhagavan mrityu samitra karmani. Iho pahuto bhagavan. Iho pahuto bhagavan mrityu samitra karmani. When we are hearing Bhagavatam class, when we are attending, along with the people who are coming to attend here, Bala, Jagannath Prabhu, Kodwani brothers, Ruhatia, Shiva, whoever, all of you are there. There's another person who is there also. I've told this earlier also, right? Mrityu Bhagavan. Who's that? Yamaraj. I'm going to be there somewhere. And Yamaraj is not just looking at the speaker and not just hearing. He's hearing attentively. His attention is, you can't question that. But at the same time also looking who all are present. Okay. And he's making a note of it. By mistake, by chance, if our file goes to Yamalok, you'll see, so-and-so, he used to come in Shrewsbury class. Sleeping, at least used to come. Better than sleeping at home, sleeping in the class. He can't come here. Send his file to Vaikuntha. Mrityu samitra karmani. Shudrayusham nrinamanga. Martyanam vritamicchatam. Yuho pahuta bhagavan. Mrityu samitra karmani. You may say, okay, that is happening after death. What about now, when I am going through this? Right, in third canto Srimad Bhagavatam, it is mentioned, Ashesha sanklesha samam vidhatte gunanubada shravanam murare kimba punartat charana kimba punartat charanaravinda paraga seva ratiratma labdha ashesha sanklesha samam vidhatte. Krishna Katha can bring complete cessation to all miseries of our life. There's no solution to these problems. Ashesha sanklesha samam vidhatte gunanuvada shravanam murare. When we hear attentively the qualities, activities of the pastimes of the Lord. Kimba tat charanaravinda paraga seva ratirat. What to speak of someone who develops an attraction for a person who has developed attraction for Krishna. If somebody tries to serve him. Kimba tat charanaravinda paraga seva ratiratma labdha. So actually when this Bhagavatam came to, there's one very important point which I want to highlight in this series of verses. So Suta Goswami answered all the questions. How many questions they asked at the beginning in the first canto? 6 questions. 6 questions were answered by Suta Goswami, and then he spoke about, they wanted to know about Parikshit. So Suta Goswami answered all those things, and he said, Upavarnitam etadvaha punyam parikshitam maya vasudeva kathopetam akhyanam yad aprachata. Whatever you asked me, I have answered. Okay. Now class is over. Thank you very much. Mahaprasade Govinde Nama Brahmane Vaishnave, he said. Then what do you think? Saunaka Rishi and others, what they would have said? Theek hai. Thank you. You're done, we are done. Not like that. They said something which is very powerful. In the series of verses that we are having in Bhagavad Gita's this thing, one of the topics that we had was remembering Krishna at the time of death, at the last moment, right? How crucial it is to remember Krishna at the time of death. There is something which happens, which I want to mention, because we all know how difficult it is. So first thing, when they heard that Saunaka Rishi is telling it is done, it's over, Suta Goswami, when he's saying it is done, class is over, thank you very much, we'll go. Rishaya Uchu. Saunaka Rishi is telling, Suta Jiva sama saumya saswatir vishadam yasa yastvam samsasi krishnasya martyanam amritam hina. Suta Jiva sama saumya. Arey, oh Suta Goswami, you live for long life. You can't say just like that to somebody that, you continue your class. Here the speaker has to be very attentive. Time kitna ho raha hai? Logon ko bhagenge log. Even we don't have so much things to talk. I mean, it's not like we are qualified to speak. We can go on. Both sides there is limitation. But here these people are saying, Suta Jiva Sama Saumya, you live for a long time. Saswatir Visadam Yasha, your fame should spread all over. Everywhere. You may have millions of followers in YouTube or whatever, billions of followers in Instagram. Saswatir Visadam Yasha. Yastum Samsasi Krishnasya. Oh, Suta Goswami, you are giving us Krishna Sparsha. Yastum Samsasi Krishnasya. Martyanam Amritam Hina. For Martyanam, people who are going to die, mortal people, Amritam, you're giving nectar. And then, where is my verse? I've gone to, where is my verse? I want, okay. So the verse that he says is this one. Nottama shloka vartanam jusatam tat kathamritam syat sambhramo antakalepi smaratam tat padambhujam. What happens if somebody hears this Krishna Katha properly and nicely? Nottama shloka vartanam jusatam tat kathamritam. This nectar, if you are hearing every day. Syat sambramo antakalepi. I told you about antakala. Krishna says, antakale cha mame antakalepi. What is the verse? Antakale cha mameva smaran muktva kalevaram yah prayati samadbhavam yati nasti atrasam. Is it easy to remember the Lord at the time of death? Very difficult. How many of you have had any time a fever or something which was like, say, 103, 104, or 105, or something like that? If you have had something like malaria, dengue, typhoid, or something like that, how do you feel there? A state of deliriousness, delirium. You don't know what to do. There's no energy. There is nothing. Multiply that by 100 times, or maybe 1,000 times. That will be our state at the time of death. Remembering Lord at that time, not easy. But here there is a mention which is given. Nottama shloka vartanam jusatam tat kathamritam syat sambramo anta kalepi smaratam tat padambujam. Actually, if somebody is hearing like this every day with attention, nottama shloka vartanam jusatam tat kathamritam syat sambramo, that sambramo, this bewilderment of memory will not happen. Syat sambramo anta kalepi smaratam tat padambujam. You will be able to remember the lotus feet of the Lord if you are having this harikatha every day. Syat sambramo anta kalepi. Sambramo. There's a story which I saw in YouTube of one Mataji, not Prabhupada disciple. After that, she quit her body, and towards the end of her life, she was suffering from what is that disease where you forget, amnesia, the Alzheimer's. So she was having Alzheimer's disease, not able to recall anything that she did, whether she took bath or not, she ate or not. Everything was just complete forgetfulness. Imagine what kind of a situation if we have to go through like that. But she is a devotee, and her whole life she has dedicated doing service to Krishna. What happened at the end? At the end, even though she was not able to recall anything, there was no this thing, she had only one memory, that probably I have not finished my chanting. She's finished her 16 rounds, again she'll feel, oh, I am not done. Continued chanting. Syat sambramo anta kalepi smaratam tat padambujam. Syat sambramo anta kalepi. Brahma sambrama will not happen at antakale. Nottama shloka vartanam jusatam tat kathamritam. Extremely powerful. 9:11. I can go on with this, but okay, let me bring some logical conclusion to this. These are very wonderful verses where they are talking about different things to the idea of having Krishna Katha, Krishna Sparsha, hearing Krishna Katha. Here there is one place, Sonaka Rishi is telling, Tuleyama lavenapi nasvargam na punarbhavam bhagavat sangi sangasya matyanam kimutasisha. Tuleyama lavenapi, even a moment, forget about even moment. Tuleyama lava is 1/11 of a second or something. Tuleyama lavenapi. That much of association with you, O Sutta Goswami, is far more greater than Swarga or even getting liberation. Bhagavat Sangi Sangasya Matyanam Kimutasisa. What other blessings we need? What blessings people ask? In life they'll come touch feet and they'll ask for some blessings. Give me this, give me that. Oh, my son, my daughter, my this. There's a very nice verse in Bhagavatam spoken by Prahlad Maharaj. Kutra sisa shruti sukha mrigatrishni rupa Kvedam kalevaram asesha rujam viroha nirvidyate natujano yad apiti vidvan kama nalam madhulavai samyandurapai kutra sisa shruti sukha mrigatrishni rupa. This desert-like thing, this material world which is compared to a desert. Kutra sisa, what kind of blessings we are looking for? Shruti sukha mrigatrishni rupa. In desert you ask for a little, one drop of water. Kutra sisa shruti sukha mrigatrishni rupa. Kvedam kalevaram asesha rujam viroha. This kalevaram is going to go through so many diseases. Kvedam kalevaram asesha rujam viroha. So much of pain, and so it will become completely emaciated. It will be gone. Kvedam kalevaram asesha rujam viroha. Nirvidyate natujano yad apeti vidvan. Even vidvan, even intelligent people can't see this. And they're asking for in a Mrigatrishna, in this desert like this thing, they're asking for a water. Kamanalam madhulabai samyan durapai. Kamanalam, we are Kamanala, the fire of desires, the fire of lust. Kamanala madhulabai. One drop somewhere it is falling. We are getting burnt in the fire of desire, in the fire of lust. One drop of some this thing happiness that we are asking for. Madhulabai samyan durapai. So they go on talking about this very, very, very interesting, very wonderful conversation this Sukadev Goswami and Sutta Goswami they are having. But to bring back this thing to our life and to see how important it is to have the real touch of Krishna. I was giving some example of that. The beginning, like how Krishna, when he came in touch with Devaki or Vasudev, even Krishna, when he comes in touch with the ordinary people. If you remember the pastimes of the Lord, Krishna touched Sakatasura, right? Krishna was kept underneath that cart. The demon in the form of a cart was there, and Krishna just touched that Sakatasura. Very young, baby, just a baby was kept there. Maybe some shade or something, and Mother Yashoda has kept Krishna underneath. Of course, Krishna knows what exactly it is. There is a backstory of this demon called Sakatasura, who was a ghost who was entered into that cart. He was actually son of Hiranyaksha. And he had tormented one sage, and he was cursed to have a ghostly body, and that's how he was there as a ghost, as a demon inside that. And the Acharya's comment, Krishna's touch, the moment Krishna touched, the whole cart got disintegrated. The wheels went away, and the cart also got disintegrated. And that cart being disintegrated by the touch of Krishna says that our life is also filled with this big false ego, big time, which doesn't allow us to come in touch with Krishna. Feeling that I know everything, I'm good without Krishna, I don't need anybody's advice, I'm fine, I can enjoy, I can do myself. All those things, that false ego, and I'll do in my own way. I don't need anybody's guidance, or I don't need to surrender. I don't need to be submissive. That by Krishna's touch, when it gets disintegrated, those two wheels represent the birth and death. The cycle of birth and death gets disintegrated. Krishna touched Kubja, right? Kubja was a hunchback lady, and Krishna touched the toe and just lifted her like this. And she became the most beautiful lady in Mathura. Like that, we are also having the burden of our own misunderstanding, false ego, of enjoying this material world like in the form of a hunchback. Krishna's touch can purify us, can make us completely cleansed from within. Krishna danced on the hoods of Kaliya. All the poisonous thing that the snake had, Kaliya, was all vomited out just by the dance of Krishna. Of course, it is also to ensure that Kaliya is not tortured by Garuda Dev. Because if he doesn't have any this thing, there is no power. But Krishna said, my imprints are there. So when we have the imprints, like, this Tulsi, Kanti, Tilak, we are Vaishnavas, right? So Krishna's touch on Kaliya. Krishna lifted Govardhan. Hantaya Madri Ravala. What is that verse? And then there is a sparsha. Yad sparsha. Krishna touched Govardhan for 7 days and 7 nights. Doesn't matter how big calamity was there outside. Those Sambardhaka cloud and thunderbolt of Indra being, inflicted upon Govardhan. Govardhan was not feeling any this thing. Krishna was, there was a constant, continuous touch of Krishna. The final thing is, there's a beautiful verse of Bhagavatam which comes in connection with Putana. And this verse is so nice. I don't know why it is appearing like. Why it is appearing black? Dahyamanasya dehasya dhumascha guru saurabha uttitah krishna nirbhukta sapadi ahata papmanaha. Dahyamanasya dehasya dhumascha guru saurabha uttitah krishna nirbhukta sapadi ahata papmanaha. This is when the dead body of Putana is being burnt, and there is a fragrance which is coming out of it. Dahyamanasya dehasya. The body is being burnt. Dhumascha guru saurabha. Saurabha is a fragrance. A guru is used for smearing on the body of the deities, right? A guru. Dhumascha guru saurabha. And the fragrance is spreading everywhere. Dhumascha guru saurabha. Uttita krishna nirbhukta sapadi ahata papmanaha. The translation is, because of Krishna's having sucked the breast of Rakshasi Putana, when Krishna killed her, she was immediately freed of all material contamination. Her sinful reactions automatically vanished. And therefore, when her gigantic body was being burnt, the smoke emanating from her body was fragrant like a guru incense. This is what Krishna does to each one of us individually. We may have all kinds of accumulation of our sinful this thing in life, filled with it. We are no better than Putana. We're far worse. But Krishna's touch is so powerful. If we do it properly, it purifies us. The sinful reactions get burnt, fragrance comes out of us. In the next two verses, with this we'll close. So, Sukadeva Goswami is telling, Putana loka balagni, rakshasi rudhirasana, jighamsayapi haraye, stanam datvapa sadgatim. Putana loka balagni. Who's Putana? If you see the word Puta, anywhere in Bhagavad Gita, you know where it comes? Puta madbhavam. Bhitaraga bhaya krodha manmaya mam upashata bahavo jnana tapasa puta madbhavam agata. That puta means they became purified. Bhitaraga, give up your raga bhaya krodha, attachment, fear and anger. Manmaya, think of me. Bhitaraga bhaya krodha manmaya mam upashata. Take shelter of me. Bahavo jnana tapasa. Bahavo, many people before you, taking to the shelter of the transcendental knowledge and austerity, became purified. Putana. Putana means who doesn't have any purification, completely impure. Some people are at least named nicely, but they do impure thing. But her name itself was Putana. There is no question of pious this thing. There was no purification. Putana, Lokabalagni. What she was doing? She was eating Lokabala, child. She was killing children. Lokabalagni. Rakshasi, Rudhirasana. And she was drinking their blood. Rakshasi, Rudhirasana. Jighamsayapi haraye. And she came with an envious attitude towards Krishna to kill him. Jighamsayapi haraye. Stanam datvapa sadgatim. Yet, despite all this, because Krishna touch, stanam datvapa sadgatim. He got sadgati. Kamba dayalum saranam rajema. Kamba dayalum. What we think we are very big, pure, pious devotees? Nothing. Krishna's sparsha. Then in the next one, he's telling, Kim punah shraddhaya bhaktya krishnaya paramatmane yachan priyatmamam kim no raktas tanmataro yatha. There is a nyaya, there is a logic which is called kaumudi nyaya. That means, imagine if I say, somebody after having eaten the chappan bhog, so sometime if we have 56 items, after he finished chappan bhog, he ate 20 gulab jamuns. Okay. If that is the power of his appetite, what that person will do after Nirjala Ekadashi if gulab jamun is kept? Right? So this is called Kim Puna Shraddhaya Bhaktya. What to speak if somebody like Putana, Stanam Datvapa Sadgatim, got liberation, Kim Puna Shraddhaya Bhaktya. What to speak of someone who's engaging in Shraddha, in Bhakti, doing Bhakti in Shraddha, Krishnaya Paramatmane Yachan Priyatamam Kimnu Raktastan Matara. Those mothers who are actually trying to, those elderly gopis who were serving Krishna in that Vatsalya, what to speak of them? If Putana could get the position of mother by Krishna's sparsha, Krishna touch, what to speak of us? What to speak of those mothers of the Vrindavan? So like that, when we engage in Krishna's bhakti, when we engage in Krishna's in devotional service, as Prabhupada is mentioning, Krishna's touches, having love and engaging in devotional service, and regularly associating with Krishna in the form of this thing, we'll also go back home, back to Godhead. I'll stop here and see if you have any questions or comments. Jagranthra Srimad Bhagavatam ki, Srila Prabhupada ki, Nitai Gaur Premanande. Hare Krishna.